So earlier this week, you were probably like me, staring at the forums. I'm like, come on, refresh! We were expecting at least some sort of new character, maybe the next round of Leia requirements. Unfortunately, we got neither of those, but what we're going to be talking about today is what we were anticipating to happen in case you're living in a cave on Tatooine. It looks like there's a good chance Scout Troopers coming to Galaxy of Heroes, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's needed for Leia Organa. When we were speculating about requirements, I forgot which one I was trying to think in the video, and I meant to say Scout Trooper. I think it's more likely to happen very shortly, as we're going to see inside the game. And on top of that, speaking of Leia, I kind of want to give you guys an update. 5v5 Grand Arena is almost up. How is Captain Rex and Nisa doing? 2 requirements needed for Galactic Legends Leia Organa. Well, we got some interesting little tidbits, so sit down, relax, and let's get on into the action. So in case you don't know where the start of this speculation is coming from, the login calendar for August, which you've probably already seen by now, has Moff Gideon. It has the daily login calendar, and the bonus calendar is gonna be Death Troop, which, by the way, speaking of bonus calendar, make sure you're going to the Galaxy Heroes web store. Only place where you can get that bonus calendar if you can't get on the web store. Moment of silence. Make sure you pick up that calendar. A lot of extra freebies. Every little bit of freebie counts. And of course, don't forget that we also got more Imperial-like things inside of the daily mystery chest. We're gonna get character shards, some energy, and some, random credits and materials. Omegas, I would appreciate Omegas in my free-to-play account especially. All these guys are pretty much useful, except for Gary, and used somewhere in the game. So really good month. I really got to stay on top of my free-to-play account. I do as I say, not as I do, but my free-to-play account has, even my main account, we're not really taking advantage of this. It's just too inconvenient to keep typing in my email, typing in my code. First world problems, y'all. So that's your PSA. Make sure you go there and get all your free little goodies. Well, let's hop on over to the game real quick, shall we? Yeah, login calendar. It has the stuff. Generally, the monthly login calendar kind of coordinates that something funny with those 2 characters is kind of around the theming that we're looking for. So, all right, let's look at Moff Gideon. Empire, Imperial Remnant, Imperial Trooper. All right, I mean, come on, it's gonna be exciting. It's looking like another Imperial Troopers on the timeline. And then, of course, Death Trooper, similar fate with the Empire, Imperial Remnant, and Imperial Trooper. Well, let's dig a little bit deeper as to why this is meaning anything and why do we need anything right now related to these guys. Here's the big thing. The problem is right now, Moff Gideon never really had time to shine at the lead. Tactical deployment, on paper, sounds like a pretty cool lead, but when you have General Veers creating Super Troopers, Iden Versio, who takes leftover troopers and makes something great out of them, it's like there's really not anything left for Moff Gideon to really pick apart. Even in 3, we're not really seeing all that much. So the problem is there's too many good cooks in the kitchen. Not to say Moff Gideon's not being used, but I think the real big thing that's tipping the hat is, well, we've been saying this for a long time. There's kind of Scout Troopers inside of the leadership ability icon. We have the Death Trooper, we have the 2 Stormtroopers. We don't have any Scout Troopers. So this is when the theory really kind of came to fruition when Moff Gideon came out, but that's like, what, 2 years now? We've never seen any Scout Trooper. But with the new Endor raid coming very shortly for Leia, later on this fall or whatever, later on this year, it'd be kind of weird having an Endor raid, and we're going to be on speeder bikes, but we don't have any Scout Troopers. Kind of a little funky, if you ask me. And furthermore, taking it beyond that, the theming, the timing is right. They're trying to do anniversary stuff for the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. Gideon, Death Trooper, Imperial Remnant. I'm guessing they're trying to call out the Mandalorian season. And then, of course, Scout Trooper was in the Mandalorian. I would fully expect a Scout Trooper with an Imperial Remnant tag and an Imperial Trooper tag. And I'd be really curious if they're going to start making maybe Gideon the new leading Imperial leader. Let's be real. I know, coming from the one who basically invented the Imperial Troopers and got everyone on board even before it was cool, it pains me to say that right now Imperial Troopers across all spectrums, they're getting their butt handed to them. Almost every new thing that comes out is anti-Imperial Trooper, I guess, except for Saw Gerrera. Ewoks, anti-Imperial Troopers. We're going to take a look at the Phoenix or anti-Imperial Trooper, Tusken's anti-Imperial Trooper, Seer Judah anti-Imperial Trooper. The list goes on and on and on. Imperial Troopers are having a hard time beating the new generation of teams coming in. Iden Versio, not really being used on defense anymore because of Wampa. You can beat some stuff, of course, on offense like CLS and some other stuff, but in general, Imperial Troopers still usable, but as you progress, you're going to notice they're having a lot harder time winning stuff. So this is kind of a good time to either, one, add a new Imperial Trooper to maybe supercharge Veers, work on Iden, or maybe just transition the Empire into an Imperial Remnant era, or maybe Gideon, which is crazy to think, could be the forefront of the Imperial Trooper future, which I guess makes a little bit of sense when you look at how the Mandalorian season panned out. So nonetheless, a lot of people were hoping that maybe we were going to get the Scout Trooper this week. Hard to say if and when it's going to come out, but I feel very confident we are going to get a Scout Trooper leading up to the raid and or Leia, and I would not be surprised if Scout Trooper ends up being a requirement for Leia, especially if it's Endor Leia. Kind of makes thematic sense. But what also makes sense is taking a look at some of the data in regards to the Ewoks, the Nisa, as well as Captain Rex, both units needed for Galactic Legends Leia. I thought it'd be interesting to kind of get you guys up to speed as to what 5v5 data has been showing. Let's take a look at Nisa and the Ewoks. We're definitely a little bit limited on data, primarily because not a lot of people have their Ewoks up and running to a high degree, and they have Nisa at a high degree. All this data is looking at Relic 1 minimum on the team. Not too many sample sizes that we could really pull from here. Only 116 battle, and we also don't know if people are really dialing the speed properly. Papu needs to be fast to really get the train moving. But from what we were seeing so far, the one thing that's working into Ewoks defense, Nisa's animations take so long, and it's making people lose lots of time. So that's one factor working in favor of them on defense. But the downside is we're seeing that it looks like in the small sample we have, it looks like Wampa's making its way through, and relatively quickly. And if that's the case, Ewok's gonna have a short lifespan on defense. However, people are throwing some big things like Commander Luke Skywalker, Tuskens, which are supposed to be, you know, ideal counters. Those are still big ticket items. But Imperial Troopers having a bit of a struggle. The faster your Papu is gonna be, that's gonna be hard for Imperial Troopers to keep up. We are seeing Shock T with Bad Batch do work. It looks like a vanilla Bad Batch has a hard time winning, but Shock T, Bad Batch doing some stuff. Of course, we're seeing some Traya, General Anakin Skywalkers. Hey, we got an Admiral Trench in there. Basically, from what I'm seeing is the Ewoks right now are definitely better now more than ever, and it's kind of requiring something a little bit better than they used to. Even in the limited data I was seeing, it looks like not even Ness was soloing them. From what we're seeing right now, yeah, it depends on how reliable the Wampa counter is going to be, but overall, we're seeing that they're being a little bit better than usual. What is more interesting is Hera Syndulla and the Phoenix Squadron. So I want to know, just the other day, they released a new update, so the data is probably going to get even better for the Phoenix crew. We see that Captain Rex will now properly dispel on his basic ability to only target potential clone trooper Phoenix allies who are inflicted with a debuff. But furthermore, the most important thing is Captain Rex is now going to grant turn meter to everybody when debuffs are being applied. And that's a lot of turn meter that was missing out before. Now it's there. However, I still think something's broken. Just recently in Grand Arena, I was trying to use my Phoenix up against Zori, and even though my Sabine was faster mod-wise, somehow Captain Rex outran her. So it seems like maybe the unique ability is not sharing properly. Maybe the Omicron's not sharing like it should be with the Hera Syndulla tying everyone's lead. But nonetheless, I was able to beat Resistance. But nonetheless, I just want to say, the data we're seeing, it's only going to get better most likely now that everything's working appropriately. Or so it seems. Definitely a few things that might be missing out. But here we go on defense. So Tuskens were kind of the first thing we know. It's probably going to be a counter up against them. Turn meter heavy teams are usually vulnerable to a Tusken. So that's kind of expected, but Tuskens are kind of key for a lot of different things. So it's not a bad counter. People throwing Darth Traya, that's big ticket money right there. General Anakin Skywalker, big ticket money, people throwing at that. But look at this. Imperial Troopers not really having a consistent win, and depending on how fast these guys were, it makes a big difference. If their Captain Rex is not going first, I think it's going to be a bit of an issue. You need to have fast Captain Rexes. Commander Luke Skywalker, 33%. Wow. Unlike the Ewoks, it looks like Wampa will not be able to solo Phoenix anymore. That used to be a Wampa bread and butter thing back in the day, before Omicron. That doesn't look like that's going to be the thing anymore. Overall, we're seeing that people are throwing some pretty high-level things as well. A lot of 0% wins of Commander Luke Skywalker. Bad Batch having a bit of a struggle. Radis having a bit of a struggle. Really no one winning with Wampa. Night Sisters having a bit of a struggle. Remember, if you're going to fight Night Sisters with Phoenix, or you're going to bring Night Sisters against Phoenix, if there's Kanan, Night Sisters are screwed. We got some other interesting stuff, though. It looks like maybe a few Iden Versios made it through. Some bounty hunters. Again, we don't really know how accurate the data is going to be. Yes, something won, but how fast was Captain Rex? Generally, if Captain Rex is fast, which he's going to be with the Omicron, if you're not putting good mods on him, you're not going to get the big turn meter push. Once Captain Rex starts rolling, it's kind of game over at that point for a lot of teams. Yeah, like, see, this could very well be a faster Captain Rex. Grand Inquisitor having a rough time, so much more impressive. As we said, the defense is going to be very impressive on this team. Almost maybe rivaling how Zori is, but I think Zori might still have a slight edge on defense. But how about offense? So remember, a lot of this data is not going to be 100% correct because we don't have the fixes until now. Now that the whole team is supposed to be getting turn meter through Captain Rex, the data could be different. So when people brought in Kanan and Jarrus, they had a much better time going up against Reva. That was one of the big things we found day one in our testing. It's working very well in territories, especially the territory where Omicron and Hera. Without Kanan, it's looking like it's a little bit less of a win rate, 22%. And then also we have some 83%ers up here as well. So if you're going to go up against Reva, you need to have Chopper, Kanan, as well as Sabine seem to be the way to go. Good wins against Inquisitor. Look at that, 100% win rate against Commander Luke Skywalker. Zori has been a bit tricky. I did beat her recently, however, it can be very annoying. Maybe I need some more buff dispels on the team because usually I get stuck behind the damage unity on Finn and Poe. It is a manageable battle. It is a difficult battle though. Overall, pretty good win rates on offense versus a variety of stuff out there. I couldn't quite find myself beating Lord Vader, maybe because the Datacrons are a little bit tricky right now with the high protection and health. But overall, against pretty much most things I'm being thrown at, they're doing fairly well. Yeah, here we go, another Reva win. So what I'm getting at right now, since we're talking about Scout Trooper, Galactic Legends Leia, so far, Captain Rex, like we saw, it's been a banger character, and it's unfortunate I can't even show territory war data. He's doing fantastic in territories, especially for those that have the Harrison dual Omicron. And the Ewoks are also doing all right themselves. So far, these requirements for these characters for the Galactic Legends Leia are looking really good. And dang, I just can't emphasize enough how much I absolutely love Captain Rex, and the fact that he brought a zero team to hero status. Wow, pretty big deal. That's gonna wrap it up today. Are you believing the Scout Trooper hype? I think it makes perfect sense with the login calendar generally giving us a teaser as to what's to come, and also looking at the game. Man, I think it might be time to lift up either a Remnant team, an Iden Special Forces team, or the good old Super Trooper team. No matter what, and a new edition of Imperial Troopers is always a well-welcomed one around here. Leave that like, comment down below, subscribe so you're not missing a thing. And always remember, it's great to be in the Empire today.
The sun never sets. We dominate. We're stronger together.